Have you ever just looked up from your phone and realized an entire hour has just disappeared? We've all been there. And it turns out that's not an accident. In this explainer, we're going to dive into Eyal's incredible book, Hooked, to pull back the curtain on how products are built, step by step, to become a part of our daily routine.
So let's just start by stating the obvious. We are all attached to our devices. They're practically an extension of our hands at this point. But the actual depth of that connection, well, it might be even crazier than you think.
Think about your morning routine. Be honest. Before you even have a sip of coffee, what's the very first thing you reach for? For a staggering 79% of us, it's our phone. It's become our alarm clock, our morning news, our social catch-up, all before our feet even touch the floor.
And that's just the start. It continues all day long. Some of the official studies say we check our phones maybe 30 or 40 times a day. But a lot of people in the industry think the real number is way, way higher, closer to 150 times. Just do the math on that. That's about once every 6.5 minutes that we're awake. Wow. So this begs the huge question. What's going on here? Are we all just undisciplined? Or is something else at play? Well, Eyal argues that our constant urge to check our phones isn't a bug, it's a feature. It is meticulously, carefully engineered.
To really get this, we have to understand what a habit is. You can think of a habit as your brain on autopilot. Our brains are lazy, in a good way. They create these little shortcuts for things we do all the time, so we don't have to waste mental energy. And it's that super efficient, energy-saving process that companies are dying to tap into.
And why are they so desperate to do that? Because for a lot of today's companies, building a habit isn't just one of their goals, it's their entire business model. It's the difference between success and total failure.
This visual right here shows what Eyal calls the habit zone. It's the absolute sweet spot. A product gets in here when two things happen. You use it really often, think about how many times a day you use Google, and you see it as super valuable, like how you trust Amazon has what you need. When you combine frequency and utility, that's where habits are born.
And the rewards for getting into that zone, they are massive. Customers who are hooked stick around longer. They're not as worried about price changes. They tell all their friends about the product, which is basically free marketing. And it makes it incredibly difficult for a competitor to steal them away. It's a powerful moat.
You know, a really great way to think about this is the difference between a vitamin and a painkiller. A lot of the products we're addicted to now, like Instagram or TikTok, they started out as vitamins. They were nice to have, but not essential. But once we form a habit, not using them creates a tiny little bit of pain, an itch, and the product becomes the painkiller that scratches it.
So, how do they do it? How do product designers turn that nice-to-have vitamin into a must-have painkiller? Well, Eyal lays out the entire playbook in a simple 4-step process he calls the hook model.
And this is it. This is the engine of habit formation. It's a loop, and the more times a user goes through this cycle, the more automatic the behavior becomes. Eventually, you don't even need any prompting. You just do it. The 4 phases are trigger, action, variable reward, and investment. Each one flows into the next, and it creates this powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. So let's break down each one. Okay, let's get into the mechanics here and see how each of these 4 steps work together to get us hooked.
So it all starts with the trigger. This is the spark plug. It's the little nudge, the cue, that gets the whole engine started and tells you to do something. And triggers come in 2 main flavors. You have your external triggers. Those are the obvious ones like a notification buzzing in your pocket. But the real goal, the holy grail for these companies, is to connect to an internal trigger. That feeling of boredom? Open YouTube. Feeling a little lonely? Open Instagram. The emotion itself becomes the trigger. So once you're triggered, the next step is the action. Now, for any action to happen, a researcher at Stanford named BJ Fogg says you need 3 things all at once: motivation, ability, and a trigger. And for product designers, the easiest thing to crank up is ability. In other words, make the action as simple as humanly possible. This is just a perfect example of that. Remember the old Yahoo homepage? It was a cluttered mess. You had to actually think to find anything. But Google? It was just a box. It was so radically simple that it made the action of searching completely effortless. They maxed out the ability factor. Okay, so you've taken the action. Now comes the really sneaky part, the magic ingredient, the variable reward. And that word, variable, is everything. Its power comes from being unpredictable. It's just like a slot machine. The not knowing what you're gonna get, that uncertainty is what gets our brain's reward system all fired up and leaves us craving more.
Eyal puts these rewards into 3 categories. First, you have rewards of the tribe. That's all about social approval, the likes, the comments. Then there are rewards of the hunt. That's the search for information or entertainment, like the infinite scroll on your news feed. And finally, rewards of the self. That's about feeling competent and in control, like finally reaching inbox 0.
And the last phase of the loop is investment. This is where you, the user, do a little bit of work. You follow a new account, you create a playlist, you post a picture. Every little thing you do puts value into the product. It makes the service better for you next time, and it makes you much more likely to come back. You've got skin in the game.
So, once you see this 4-step model, you start seeing it everywhere. It is an unbelievably powerful tool, and, with great power comes some pretty big questions about responsibility.
There's a fantastic quote in the book from one of Eyal's readers. It's pretty blunt. This knowledge really is a superpower. It can be used to build products that turn us into mindless zombies, or it can be used for good.
And that's really the book's main point in the end. The goal shouldn't be to create unhealthy addictions, it should be to build healthy habits. This exact same framework can be used to help people do things they already want to do. Exercise more, save money, learn a new skill. So now you've seen the blueprint, the trigger, the action, the variable reward, and the investment. The next time you pick up your phone, just pause for a second. Think about the apps you open without even thinking. Which ones have gotten you hooked? And what's the internal trigger, that feeling that they've attached themselves to?